Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the today's Restaurant News Networking Group. My name is Howard Appel. I'm the founder and publisher of today's Restaurant News. And we are a group of vendors in the restaurant industry who are here to help each other grow our businesses. And we are positioned in such a way that we can help any restaurant owner, manager, or chef, or anybody with a kitchen for that matter, with any problems they might have. And we encourage you to give us a call if you have the problem and you'd like to get some free advice. Give us a call at 561-620-8888 or go to our website at trnusa.com. And if you'd like to see our YouTube channel, we made it easy. You can go to our website and trnusa.com and you can click on the YouTube tab at the top of the page. And good morning, everybody.
Morning, Howard.
I've got a really interesting topic I want to bring up today. And then we'll do our intros after. But Steve's going to spit the food out of his mouth as soon as I say this.
Steve.
You're all familiar with what's going on in the weight loss world with Ozempic. I know, Steve. So the question for the day, which I came across and thought it would be interesting, the question is, how is the Ozempic craze changing the way people are dining in restaurants? And I'll open it up. Anybody have any thought on that? I bet Steve does.
Well, doesn't that drug work by making your body tell you that you're full and you can't eat anymore? You take a couple of bites and you're done.
Yes.
Isn't that how it works?
Yes. I've been on it for 2 years.
Okay. Does it work that way?
I've lost almost 50 pounds. And I noticed my wife and I now share a lot of meals when we go out to dinner, as opposed to me eating my own meal. So in the sense of it affecting things, it could probably do it that way in the restaurant world.
Wow.
I went on it for a short time and it didn't affect my appetite at all.
It depends on the quantity. For me, it only started to work once I got to the highest level.
Same here.
Okay. So if you start on a very low dose, it may have zero impact on you. And
True.
also, Ozempic stopped working after, I don't remember exactly how long, about a year. And so I switched to Manjaro.
I followed your lead. I did the same exact thing.
And when I was on the cruise ship, and what's interesting is you sort of eat whatever you want, but you just eat less. And the sequence on the cruise ship actually that you would normally eat food helped. Because I always started out with a soup, which intrinsically is fairly low calorie. Well, I had an onion soup, which is can be fairly low calorie, and then salad. And by the time I got to anything that was substantial, I couldn't eat it. Frankly, I took a bite and that was it.
Wow.
This is not restaurant related. How are you purchasing it? Is it going through insurance or you buying?
No, it's for weight loss. It's not an insurable. You can't do it that way. You pay for it, and it's brutally expensive. As a matter of fact, for Manjaro, I'm getting I get it compounded for me because if I go and get the injectable stuff that you see with the nice injector and so on, which is terrific, that's about a $1,500 bill a month, and if they compound it and I sort of do my own injection like a doctor would, that's 500.
Yep, I'm doing the same chapter and verse with you. Same exact thing. The fellow that got me into it was about 6'5", and he said, "Herb, I used to eat a whole pizza and 2 big bowls of ice cream. Now I have a slice of pizza and a small bowl of ice cream. It's a matter of just training yourself too.
Wow.
I
Wow.
mean, it doesn't prevent you from eating, but it makes you feel full.
Yeah.
You can overeat if you choose, but
Oh, you can eat through it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what you're saying is one of the items that they mentioned in this article. The first one they said is smaller orders. So obviously, diners are ordering smaller portions, skipping appetizers and or desserts.
Actually, I eat pretty much the same way, but I take half of it home or more. I mean, I'll go out to a restaurant and order whatever I feel like, and I'll take the rest home, and then I have it for another day or two. To put
Well,
a point on it, when I go to Publix and get a sub, I will divide that. I only first of all take half a sub. My wife usually takes the other half, but even that half I cut in half.
wow.
And do you see it if you do drink? Does it have any effect on your alcohol consumption?
It does. I mean, I don't know about the rest of you, but I mean, at this point in my life, I'm not such a big drinker anyway. But truth is, I drink. Well, I always drank socially, but it's now I really drink only socially because to really be social. Otherwise, I I have no desire. It really you don't have any desire for alcohol.
It
Wow.
says it reduces cravings.
Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
So,
it has no it has very little appeal to me, and I always enjoyed a good drink, and it has very little appeal to me.
so why don't they give this to people who have a problem with alcohol?
They probably should, but the trouble is not it isn't covered by insurance. All these other things, it's good for your kidneys and all sorts of other things, but it's not covered under insurance because it's not designed for that, or it's not hasn't been approved for that purpose.
It
It's
sounds like you should be doing a lot of trials for even people with addictions.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it probably would work with a lot of that stuff too, because I mean, if you think about alcohol, it certainly can be addictive.
You know, it's interesting to bring that up. When I worked for Bethlehem Steel, it was in the Lackawanna. I was in Buffalo Tank in Buffalo, and Lackawanna was a big steel plant. They had one of the company physicians that all he did, he worked on people who were working for Bedlam Steel who were alcoholics. And he had approximately a 25% recovery rate, which was unheard of at that time. And it was no drugs. But what he did, if the person drank beer, he would tell them to drink scotch or whiskey. If he drank whiskey, he'd tell them to put him on beer. And they couldn't adjust to the difference in the taste, if I could say it that way. So they were in rehab for most of the time, 6 to 9 months, doing this kind of therapy. And his success rate was about 25%. And the industry average at that time was like 4 or 5%. So everybody was looking at him as a model of how to take care of alcoholics in the industrial workplace, which is amazing.
Hmm.
Oh,
And that was in what, 1978? Long time ago,
Yeah.
1977.
do you think that after 2 years, Steve, of doing this, that if you went off of it, your habits have changed enough that you would be able to control?
The answer is it's hard to tell, but I think that the answer is more yes than no. And the reason is I don't always feel, I mean, I'm not sure even the Manjaro is really working for me, but I don't have big, all my portions are much smaller than they used to be.
And now you're used to that. That's the new norm for you. So
Right.
if you,
By the way, part of the trouble, here's also why it stops working. Your body gets used to the smaller portion, it becomes more efficient
right,
at consuming the calories that are available.
right.
Okay, so there's less, let's call it less food waste as a result. of that.
That makes,
Are you
Steve,
finding,
does it have you come up that you eat slower or do you eat faster?
Neither. I eat about the same
Yeah.
as I used
Okay.
to.
one of the items that they brought up in the article was that people are making healthier choices.
no, they don't.
I don't think that's true. I make
Good.
healthier choices when they're easily available to me. So at home, if my wife doesn't put a salad on the table, I don't eat it, just by a simple example. And I like salads.
Mhm.
I like, well, I'm not thrilled with vegetables, but I will choose to eat them if available.
But you touched on another item in the article, which was more leftovers, so that you can order a large portion of anything and take it home and eat it, like you said, for another 1 or 2 meals.
Yeah, exactly.
We
So,
do, Howard.
but
We always do that. Take stuff home. Be just not. I was doing it on my own, just the last several years, and it's really worked. Just if you drink a ton of water, which is all I really drink with lemon, once in a while an iced tea, and I'll tell you, just drinking tons of water, you don't get hungry.
Well,
And
people have said that forever, but that never worked for me because I drink a lot of fluids,
oh, okay,
always historically, and
okay.
that so
A friend
that
of mine told me to start eating broccoli, and
Ew. I
I
mean,
know, and the thing is, I like broccoli, especially when it's wrapped in bacon and deep fried. But it didn't work.
Well, one of the good things about broccoli is if you eat enough of it, everybody will hear you coming.
Oh,
But
Carl,
to jump in real quick, where I live up and coming, there don't seem to be too many people on that Sambera, whatever you call it, the shot. Because, I mean, we have a lot of fast food, a lot of chain places. And I tell you, like Texas Roadhouse, any given night is packed. Okay.
here,
There's a Mexican restaurant we went to twice. It was terrible. They're not open on Sunday. It's packed. People waiting outside to get in. I'm like, well, now what is so great about this place? I mean, there's other places that are so packed. But do you think maybe going back, probably maybe 20 years ago, there was a place in Buckhead, maybe Chris knew it. I think it was called Two to Tango, and it was tapas. You think something like that might resort back where smaller portions you share, and like what Herb said, they share a meal. So maybe you think food might resort back to certain things like that where, you know, they call
It was
tapas.
called Tutu Tango,
Yeah,
Tutu
yeah, yeah.
Tutu Tango. It was out of Miami.
Yes, it was. Yeah.
yeah. We went there when we were in Atlanta. Hmm.
But on our side, what would me and Rochelle do is, like we've got our portions back, and like, you know, we'll share a piece of chicken breast, and I'll pound it down and put some spices on it and put it in the oven and eat. And we'll eat. Um, I'll have a salad and then we'll have a vegetable. But we've kind of cut back on our portions, and we don't eat like we used to. So, but yeah,
well, what you're saying is basically the last item on this list that they gave, and it's the impact on the business model, being
yeah,
that restaurants are adapting by offering smaller portions and adjusting menus to cater to changing eating habits. And if you own a restaurant, and if you don't change like that, you're not you're going to be losing customers rather than picking them up.
yeah,
I
You know,
saw
it
an
actually happened in New York. We were still living there. It was around 2010. There were quite a few tapas restaurants that sprung up, and there was a big shift of people away from some of the kind of established restaurants there in the city. And a lot of them had switched that to where they had brought out like a new like small plate menu to just be able to compete.
Wow.
I was watching an episode of Bar Rescue last night, and John Tapson made an interesting comment. he was telling the bar owner, he said, I'm going to paraphrase this, stop worrying about the people that are here. Worry about getting the people that are not here to come in.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting line of thinking when you have to change what you're doing.
Well, there was people are also now, it's not a very big menu, but where was I? There's a menu for plant-based products. So I don't know if plant-based is, I don't know what it's filled with, but plant-based is plant-based, but I don't know that plays into maybe trying to lose some weight there. I don't know.
The trouble with a lot of the plant-based stuff that imitates meat is that it is probably worse for you than the meat because it's filled with all sorts of stuff, fats, and just that you really shouldn't eat. Kind of, it's very tasty. I mean, I've had hamburgers that are vegetarian, and I think they're terrific, but it's not any lower in calories or anything else. You just get to say you're a vegetarian.
Yeah.
Yeah. If God wanted us to eat that stuff, we would have been born with a chemistry set. So
True enough.
I'd like to chime in with smaller portions. My son Andrew, who's the baker in the world of pies here, we've just developed. He's just developed a small little pie, a circular pie, 4 inches in diameter. We call it the cutie pie, and the pie, like all of our other pies, has the Concord base, and then on top of that is either a peanut butter um, or a crumble topping. And now on our little cutie pie, we're making them, the cutie pies, in the crumble or the peanut butter with a little chocolate kiss on top of them. And we've got it in a small little box, like a 5-inch square box. And now we're looking, to get the packaging around that. So although I know packaging companies, but if anybody, has a suggestion regarding a packaging company that would help us, put a dozen of these pies or the right number in a delivery master. Well, not actually a master, and the master would be palletized on a 40 by 48, supermarket pallet, and then of course, stackable. The master that would have the strength, so they could be stackable, maybe 15 high or so, or 17, 18 high. I'm thinking about what we did in the fresh Concord grape market, for delivery. So that's something. And what do you think of the idea of the reason why we think it may be a good restaurant item? Of course, is there'd be no labor. There's nobody. If you come with a 9-inch pie, and then you cut the pie into slices, there could be the loss of a slice of pie or two, and then there's the labor in cutting the pie. And sometimes when you cut a pie, depending on what the filling is, there might be some leakage or what have you. This way, by just taking one little unit completely round, the round pie, the small pie, and delivering that to the table, when you deliver that, you could easily, be a la mode. You could put whipped cream on it. You can put some raspberry, what have you, streaks on the plate. What's your opinion of coming out with an item? Have you seen something like that in your restaurants? A little circular pie.
I don't remember seeing it, but I seem to remember as a kid they used to have those small pies like that. Am I wrong? Does anyone else remember that?
Yes, and they still do actually. They're not any good. They're not anything like what they have. Their pies are are fresh. These are tiny little
No,
yuck.
I'm not saying that, but I mean, conceptually, I think you
Not
want.
restaurants, no.
Well, here we are again, breaking some new ground.
Well,
So I think it's a great idea.
Yeah,
It's a good idea too.
I do too. Yeah, I
I
haven't.
Oh, go. What I was gonna say is look at different pastry companies and how they ship their stuff, especially pastry cases. That'll give you an idea of exactly where you might want to go with that.
Packaging. Yeah.
Albert Ooster Imports. They do a lot of chocolate and pastry type stuff.
that's Albert Boosting, did you say?
Ooster.
Oh,
they
Booster.
they're like they do chocolate and pastry stuff.
Okay.
I would look at maybe you could probably call them and ask them about what kind of packaging they use.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
I think as you grow, Mel, when you outgrow your kitchen, you might be looking at a co-packer, and co-packers will probably
That's
have
correct.
a
That's
lot.
right. Yeah, we don't want to build bakeries. You know, we would want to find bakeries that would produce what we, for us. You're right, Howard. And by the way, Howard, I want to thank you for some of the leads. In the markets, like we're now in the Boca night market, once a month on Thursdays, and then every Saturday we're down in the farmers markets. I'm speaking about, fellas. We're down there every Sunday in Boca, and then we continue to have a lot of success in Delray, and we're going down. How about this? We're going to try the beach tomorrow. By the Elbow Club down in Fort Lauderdale, there's a market, the Loop, and we'll be experimenting. There's all the craziness going on the beach with all the kids coming down for Christmas break, and we're just gonna take a look at that market as well. But I really appreciate the leads that you gave us, and everybody's really happy with us when we show up in these markets. And it gave us a great way to get the feedback from the people, what they thought of the product. And it's been it's sensational. Everybody just loves it. I tell the people, hey, put your lips together and say the word delicious. And they all get a kick out of that. So
Hey,
it's
Melvin, I got a question for you. At the Florida Restaurant Show, are you planning on attending this year? Because I think that's a hell of an opportunity for you to get in front of all these Florida-based companies that sell to other restaurants. I mean, it's all, and I think they have packaging companies there too, I believe, last year.
Yeah. Well, I know packaging companies. I've worked with Monty Packaging. They're a great company out of Riverside, Michigan. Plus, they have operations here in Florida. I've worked with them, but their overall vegetables specialty, if you will, or fruits and vegetables. I don't believe they've not done anything in a big way in bakery, as far as I know. But everybody uses either, whether it's corrugated or clamshells, and masters curtain coated and the fluting. I'm kind of a pretty expert in that, but I'm not connected yet to the bakery industry. I don't even know about the Florida Restaurant Show, and so I appreciate just what you're suggesting over there. I've went to, of course, through the years, many fruit and vegetable shows, the fresh fruit and
Well, there is a bakery expo you ought to go to. Then, not sure when and where, but it should be coming up.
Yeah, it's the International Bakery and IBBA.
right.
Yes. And
Yeah. That I'm familiar with that one, but I didn't know about the Florida one. I mean, that's the big one,
So
the IEB.
the Florida one, just for you and for other people who are here who are new, we participated as a group. The Today's Restaurant News networking group had 10 booths last year at that show, and I
Where
anticipate
is the show and when is it, Howard?
in Orlando, and it's the early part of November.
November 11th, 12th, and 13th.
Oh, thank you.
And I'm anticipating we'll have more booths this year. So we're working on space at the show right now. So I'll
Will
let
the
you
pizza
know.
people be there too?
I'm sorry?
They're going to combine the pizza?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Now, there are two companies in the 11 o'clock group, Mel.
Yeah.
One I put in touch with Andy already, which is bun tying machine, which is a little early for you, but good to know about. And what he does is tie any kind of box or any kind of product. The other one, John Marinek, is a designer, and he works with a lot of packaging companies. So
That's great.
I'll send you his contact information.
Yeah, if you could do that, that'd be terrific. Thank you again. Thank you.
And while we're at it, why don't you just tell everybody who you are and
Oh, okay.
how we can reach you.
Yeah, well, we began. Well, I did 20 years with IBM before I got into the agricultural industry. 40 years as a grower, packer, and shipper. The nation's leading in Concord grapes for fresh market to all the major supermarkets. You tell me the city you live in, and I'll tell you who the supermarket is, and we deliver to all the supermarkets. And the backup was if there was a reject product, we'd send it to the terminal market in that city, and then all of the other wholesalers as well. And so we're quite familiar with not only being a farmer. I served on Cornell's Ag and Life Science Advisory Board for many years as the grape specialist. I worked very closely. Our major farm was in Lodi, New York, on Seneca Lake in the wine country, the Finger Lakes of New York, a beautiful area. And Cornell was just down the street, if you will, in Ithaca. And then the Cornell Experiment Station, where all the grape scientists are, developing new varieties and changing the genes in the vines, and I myself drove way at the very beginning of the tractors. I did it all, So before I ever asked anybody in any of our operations to do anything, I was sure to have done it, regarding, everything in the Four Seasons. If right now we would be where we were in early spring. The pruning would have been done on the vines, and we'd be tying them to the trellis and doing trellis repair and getting out and getting ready to put out weed control between the trellises. And so I'm quite knowledgeable. I know all the fellas in the wine country up in the Finger Lakes.
Tell us about the pie company now.
Yeah, and so the pie company was some 30 years ago around us in the Finger Lakes. I don't know how familiar you are with the Amish communities, Amish or Mennonite, and the women would take the Concord grape and make it into a pie. And over the years, in just a little town in Naples, there was a few pie developers of the Concord pie. So we saw that, and but we couldn't direct our attention to that because in the supermarkets there's the director of produce, and then there's the buyer, and then there's the merchandiser, and so we were so involved with that end of the business that we couldn't get involved in the other section of every supermarket is the bakery. And so we needed to focus. We were putting out 5, 6, 7 tractor trailers a day of Concord grapes going all over the nation, making multiple stops. So, which is pretty tricky itself.
We're,
So
we're
we're
trying to
pretty.
sell the pies for you now, Mel. So
I'm
tell us,
sorry.
we're trying to sell your pies for you now. So tell us about what you're doing now and how we can reach you.
Well, I guess you'll put my phone number out to the fellas over here in the gang. I guess for the moment, just give me a buzz and or Andrew, my son and
Tell
I.
us how we can reach you so that people watching on YouTube will be able to contact you.
Oh yeah, well, of course we have a website. That we have
And the
all of
website is
it is the Concord the Concord Great Pie Company.com. The Concord Great Pie Company.com. And it's a great website. I really think you'll enjoy it. So that's where we are. That's a little bit of a background on where we come from, and we're pretty excited about this launching. Nobody ever really tried to launch like I'm sure there's nobody here other than Howard and Terry maybe that have had our Concord one slice of Concord grape pie in your life. So we're trying to bring that product to the marketplace.
yeah. We need to have another meeting with you to discuss
That'd be great.
the next step. So,
All
all right. So
right.
thank you and continue good luck. Let's go to Charles, another man in the kitchen.
Good morning. I don't have anything as tasty as great pie, but we teach the ServSafe manager course, and we also do food handlers. My company's called On the Fly Food Safety, and one that differentiates us is we get you done in 4 hours versus 10 hours online plus another 2 to take the test. Quick and easy, and we come to you. All our dates are on the website, ontheflyfoodsafety.com, or you can shoot me a text with your name and email and phone number as well, even though you're calling me, with where you're located and how many you need taken care of, and we'll get you scheduled. My phone number is 904-923-2577, or you can email me at info, that's INFO, at ontheflyfoodsafety.com, because we come to you on the fly.
Just a little extra information. Charles is has training as a chef, so he knows the workings of the kitchen. So he's the guy you want to talk to.
Yeah, I'll help prevent a lot of headaches for you.
Good to know for sure.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you.
I want to introduce our newest official member, Jack. Good morning, Jack Spees. You're up. Tell us about.
Yeah, quick overview of Instant. We do 2 things really for the restaurant industry. One is we digitize the tips, so they don't have to have physical cash in the restaurants. Make it very easy for companies to manage that piece. And then for the back of the house that's not tied to tip wages, we can do earned wage access, so employees can get access to a portion of their earned wages in between their regular payrolls. And we do it all through a pay card that can be instantly payable. And can be provided to minors, so it makes it easier for some of the unbanked or for the underage to be able to get a payroll destination if they don't have a bank.
How do we reach you?
Email is pretty simple, jack.spees@instant.co, and my cell is 917-273-7701.
Where are you located?
I'm in Charlotte. We're actually headquartered out of Atlanta, but I'm in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Isn't that where John Marinick is? Terry?
Yes.
Yeah, I gotta put you in touch with him.
And he's got a bee farm. He grows natural honey. He's also a kitchen designer, been in the industry forever. We've known him for 100 years. Great guy. He's in the 11 o'clock group. We've actually bought a case of his different jars of honey. And I'll tell you what, it's a big difference from what you buy in the store.
Huh.
So yeah, yeah.
Interesting.
Nice. Yeah, I
Yeah,
love that connection.
a dog would love to eat that on a sock, right, Brian?
Oh yeah. So the next time he eats his sock, I'm calling you to pay for the bill, man.
Good. Tell us how you finance socks.
I,
Is
You
it
know,
new or reconditioned?
I'm sorry?
Is it new or reconditioned socks?
Yeah, I
yeah,
do new and used socks.
regurgitated.
going back to honey for a moment, since I'm a farmer, and I not only did I grow grapes, but I grew tree fruits, and so of course you need bees, to pollinate. So
Oh,
you bring in hives, and interestingly enough, just some interesting facts about honey. The bees won't start to fly until the temperature is about 70 degrees. And then out of the hive comes the scouts. They can fly up to 7 miles and find various, flowers or orchards, or depending on what's in that area, the honey that will be produced will reflect the flower, and so it's just kind of an interesting fact. And then they work like a bee through the whole day.
aw.
And it's amazing what's done. And when you say, Terry, you mentioned great tasting honey, a lot is dependent on not only the hardworking bees, but what the crop is out there that the bees have found and worked. So the
Not
honey is dependent on, the different flowers and what have you.
that's good. Oh, I know he
Mel,
had
when I
gold,
was growing,
which
oh, sorry.
oh no, go ahead, Ed.
When I was growing up, my father had kept honeybees in northern New Jersey, and uh, I used to help him. Except I got stung all the time, and I eventually got to the point where I'd swell up and I couldn't do anything. So I was told, "You get stung again, you're probably going to die." So that stopped me. My father used to go out there and have bee stings all over him. Didn't affect him, but me, one sting and that was it. My hand would be 3 times the size it would be. But one thing he always said, and we had what was called an observation hive that was there. And I was told that when those scout bees come back, they actually go inside the hive and they start dancing and they make like a dance and they tell everybody what it is in approximate direction because you can see the bees sort of floating around and pointing in a direction. Everybody goes out in that direction then, depending on what they're looking for, which
Yeah,
is
it's
amazing.
amazing.
So,
Yeah,
Really?
yeah.
Wow.
Oh, unbelievable. Yeah,
yep.
yeah.
That was even before GPS.
And
Yep.
in our yard right now, we've got a couple of holly trees, and the bees are all over those holly trees right now. So I don't even go out in the front yard anymore because those 4 trees, there's probably a couple hundred bees in those trees going
Ew.
crazy with the flowers.
Well, while you're at it, Ed, tell us who you are, what you do.
He
Oh,
gets stung
okay.
by bees. That's what he does.
That's right. I haven't been stung for a bee in like 40 years, so I'm happy.
Don't say
Yeah, this afternoon, watch out. Yeah, I know. I'll be on my way to the emergency room. And it's all Howard's fault then.
yeah.
And I'll need
Always
financing from
Howard's
Brian to
fault.
go to the emergency room. So
Yes.
my name is Ed Gerton with Seacoast Sales. We're in Orange Park, Florida, which is just outside of Jacksonville. We are an equipment supply company that specializes in frozen dessert equipment. So we have ice cream machines and batch freezers from BGI Industries and Carpigiani. We have display cases from ESA, GTI Design, and IFE. We have slushy machines from Vier. We do mixed treat machines, hot chocolate machines. So you can reach me at 904-334-4489. Have a good day.
Okay. Brian, good morning again.
Good morning.
No sock.
Little humor this morning about a dog eating a sock. Yeah, that's great.
Come on, Brian. Locking it and let's go.
No, I'm Brian. I'm with a company called Rogue Financial Group. We are a commercial equipment financing company. I work with dealers, end users, works with manufacturers. What I primarily do is focused on the hospitality side, which is restaurants, bars, breweries, just at a convenience store, which was really neat. Um, Ed can comment on it, but a lot of these mid-tier convenience stores are looking to change their ways of by adding um, kitchens in a lot of their locations to compete with your big guys like Quick Trip and Racetrack. But what I do is I help clients obtain financing on the equipment side. So we do from small to large projects. I work with startups, do work all over the country. One of the things that I think that maybe sets myself apart from other people is that I'm here and I'm accessible. And we'll talk and versus going online and just filling out an application. Again, Brian with Rogue Financial Group, 404 Thanks and have a great weekend.
Okay, let's go with Steve. Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Steve Whitehill with Anchor Business Brokers, and I help people buy and sell businesses. So let me give you an example today. I'd like to talk about an Italian restaurant. It's 9 years old. It's in Sarasota, and it has sales of $1.8 million, and on that $1.8 million, it makes $551,000, which is it makes almost a third to the bottom line, probably closer to 25%. But that's really good profitability, and it's selling for $1.3 million. And apparently they have an SBA loan. Matter of fact, I know they have an SBA loan pre-qualified. So if you've got good credit and are a good borrower, you only have to come in with $140,000, and you can own a 9-year-old Italian restaurant that's extremely profitable and doing very well. Anyway, Steve, that's just an example of what I have for sale. Steve Whitehill, Anchor Business Brokers, and I can be reached at 561-376-7500, or my email is steve, S-T-E-V-E, at anchor, B.com, anchorbb.com. Thank you.
Thank you. Herb, good morning.
Good morning. I was waiting for this moment because I want to endorse you, Howard, and Terry. I made a purchase of your lists and generated 2 sales already from it. So thank you very much. Herb Denmark with Merchant Services International. Been doing this for about 31 years. We are now taking on a position where we are paying merchants to obtain their processing. So we create a revenue stream for them. And it's become very, very effective where they don't pay fees any longer and they participate in the revenue that we create for them. It's really that simple. It's taking off. It's doing well. I'm having good fortune of working with some of the people here on the screen. And the best way to reach me is 610-721-2793. Herb Denmark at Merchant Services International. Look forward to talking to you. Bye now.
Yeah, thank you. And I'm glad to hear that the list is working out for you. There's a lot of information in those lists.
They're great.
Thank you. Chris, good morning.
Good morning, everybody. Chris Kaufman, Restaurant All Stars, headquartered out of Vidalia, Georgia. You may wonder, where is Vidalia, Georgia? Well, Vidalia, Georgia, claim to fame is that 95% of the Elvis sightings come from Vidalia, Georgia. And my name is Chris Kaufman, and I'm not the same Chris Kaufman as listed on the Jeffrey Epstein guest list. So we put that out there right now. We provide restaurant companies with talent. We currently have a chef interviewing today in Atlanta, and the client had a specific request that the chef must be bilingual because the 12 people in the kitchen, 11 only speak Spanish. And so we went through a lot of conversations with a lot of different prospects, and the tripwire was always, do you speak Spanish? Not kitchen Spanish, not restaurant Spanish, but Spanish. And we found a player, and he's interviewing in a couple hours, as a matter of fact, and should be able to nail it down because he hits all the marks. When I placed the vice president of marketing for Red Lobster, they said we want this type of background, boom, boom, boom. I brought them one guy. That's the guy they hired. Because my feeling is if I can be an asset to them and minimize their time of what they want to do for build their business, then that's an advantage for them, and that's what we do. Chris Kaufman, Restaurant All Stars, and you can remember our telephone number if you can spell All Star, and the telephone number is 404 All Star 404-255-7827. Have a fabulous week.
Thank you. And TRN Terry.
Oh, sure. Put me after Chris. First of all, Herb, if your number is 610. Now, I just realized we've had a couple of calls from there, that area code, and it comes in as spam. So it may not be answered. So if it is indeed you, please just leave a message. We'll call you right back. All right? Because it says potential spam. So I'm not saying it is you, but if it is, I apologize for not answering or somebody here answering.
Okay.
I believe it has not happened. Anyway, Terry, today's restaurant news, the other half of Howard Appel. And what I do is in charge of the monthly lead reports, which are getting larger and larger and larger to the point where all of us are working. The only day I refuse to work is Sunday. I take that day off, but every day I'm in the office, I'm with the group, we're gathering the leads and putting them together for you to get them out by the 9th. We did get them out early last month on the 3rd with a record number. So if you want a sample, we'll give you the owner's names, phone numbers, email addresses, what the establishment is, where they are, and that's it. Terry, TRNUSA.com. Have a very nice Irish day. My maiden name is McKinney, so I am Irish. St. Patty's Day.
Howard, I just wanted to once again thank you for all you've done for us, and I have a business proposition for you. If you'll buy a cup of coffee, I'm going to bring you a cutie pie, even though you already have a cutie pie in Terry. If anybody else needs a cutie pie, just give me a call.
Anytime, Dell. Anytime. We'll get Herb to come too.
Oh yeah.
And Steve. We'll get everybody from the area to come. Anyway,
hey, I have something for Chris real quick. Chris, does this chef Kevin Maxey ring a bell to you?
Yeah.
Kind of, sort of.
He has a place on Roswell Road, I guess right by Chastain. I think it's an Italian restaurant, starts with a P. But it's in the works. He's looking to open another location. So he's probably going to need some management and some stuff. So I'll keep you up to date on that.
Well, great.
Because he came from is it Rocket Farms or Rocket? It was
Rocket Farms.
I'm sorry?
Rocket Farms.
Yeah, Rocket Farms.
That's Chef Ford Fry's company.
Yeah, he's had this restaurant for a year, so I'm just kind of let you know. And
Great,
then I'll
thank
let you
you.
know what he says also.
I appreciate it.
You know, it's interesting you say that, Brian, because we're supplying equipment to their Little Ray's Mexican-themed restaurants.
Yeah.
And they're building up all over the place. We're just shipping one out to Nashville right now.
Okay.
We've shipped them just in the last year to Texas, into Raleigh, two into Atlanta so far. So they're expanding.
Yeah.
Next year, they're planning half a dozen new locations next year, which that's a lot of work.
Okay. And Herb, I'll let you know what happens there too. So he's in the search of a location right now. So he's kind of just want to make sure it's the right location. But didn't mean to interrupt you, Howard. Sorry about that.
Yes, you did.
Thanks.
I just want to,
Brian,
to close out the meeting.
We love
tell everybody if you want to reach us and give us a call at 561-620-8888 or go to the website at trnusa.com. You guys, gal, have a great weekend. We'll see you all next week. And
Okay.
let the sauce be with you.